All right, in this video lesson, we are going to take some time to practice the traditional algorithm with division before we move on to larger numbers. So go ahead and try this one on your own. Go ahead and try 93 divided by 5. All right, so we are going to go ahead and think about our first step, which is to look at this largest place value and ask ourselves, 5 times what gets us as closest to 9 as possible without going over? Well, in this case, it is going to be 5 times 1. We're going to put that answer to 5 times 1, which is 5, right underneath that 9. Then our job is to subtract. 9 take away 5 gives me 4. Now my next step is to bring down the 3 and to repeat the whole process again. This time asking myself 5 times what gets me as close to 43 as possible without going over. Well, when I think about this, I know that 5 times 8 gives me 40, and 5 times 9 gives me 45, and that's too large, so it's going to be 5 times 8. 5 times 8 gives me 40. I'm going to put that down right here. 43, take away 40, gives me 3. There's nothing else to bring down, so I cannot repeat. So my answer is 18, remainder 3. All right, let's go ahead and try another one. $86 divided by 2. Go ahead and work on that one. All right, so we have 86 divided by 2. I'm going to start by looking at the largest place value and asking myself 2 times what gets me as close to 8 as possible without going over. Well, luckily in this case, I can't actually get an exact. So I'm going to put a 4 here because 2 times 4 gives me 8. I'm putting my answer to 2 times 4 right under the 8. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract. And I get 0. My next step is to bring down the next number, which is 6. And now I repeat the whole process. 2 times what is going to give me 6 or as close as possible without going over? Well, luckily, 2 times 3 gets me exactly 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put 6 under here, and then I'm going to subtract just like I did before. I get a 0. There's nothing else to bring down, so there's no need to repeat. And actually, there's no remainder here. So we get an answer of 43. All right, let's go ahead and try this one. $43 divided by 8. Go ahead and try that one on your own. All right, so with 43 divided by 8, I take the same first steps. I'm going to go ahead and ask myself 8 times what gives me 4 or as close as possible without going over? Well, that's not possible at all. 8 times 1 is way too big, so I can't do anything with that. So I could write a 0 here if that makes me more comfortable. And I'm going to move over here to the next place value. Now I'm going to ask myself 8 times what gets me 43 or as close as possible without going over? Well, I know that 8 times 5 gives me 40, and another group of 8 would give me 48. So I have to do a 5. So 8 times 5 gives me 40. Now, since I have this number with both place values here, I'm going to write the 40 under the 43 because I'm using both place values. 43 take away 40 gives me 3. There's nothing else to bring down, so there's no repeating, and I have a remainder of 3, giving me the answer 5 remainder 3. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to do 2 more. $4 27 divided by 4. All right. I have 27 divided by 4. 4 times what gets me 2 or as close as possible without going over? Well, nothing. So I'm going to have to move on to 27. 4 times what gets me 27 or as close as possible without going over? Well, let's see. I know 6 times 4 gives me 24. So another group of 4 gives me 28. So I'm going to do 6. 4 times 6 gives me 24. I put the 24 right under here. 27, take away 24, gives me 3. Nothing to bring down, no need to repeat, so I have 6, remainder 3. All right, this last one is going to be a little bit more of a challenge, something we haven't practiced yet, but I want to see how you can do with it. So let's go ahead and do 3 divided by 127. Go ahead and try that one on your own. All right, we have 3 divided by 127. So 3 times what gives me 1? Well, nothing. And 3 times anything is going to be too large. So let's move on. 3 times what gives me 12, or as close as possible without going over? Well, 4 does. That actually gets me exactly 12. So 3 times 4 gives me 12. I'm going to put that 12 under the other 12. Then I'm going to subtract just like I always do. And I have 0. Well, there is another number to bring down. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it down. And I have 7. 3 times what gets me 7, or as close as possible to 7 without going over? Well, 3 times 2 gives me 6. So I'm going to put 6 here. I'm going to subtract. 7 take away 6 gives me 1. There's nothing else to bring down, so there's no need to repeat. So we have 42, remainder 1. I hope this video has helped you practice your algorithm skills and that you feel solid on them and are ready for the next piece.